Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everyone's a Critic podcast with your girl Queenie and your boy Kojo, where we unpack TV shows and movies for our pleasure. Kojo, what have you been watching this week, TV show wise?
Oh, Queenie, this is a great question. I have started a TV show that I've been excited to get into for a minute. It's a TV show which is made by the same showrunner as The Wire. It is, of course, We Own This City. So We Own This City is in some ways, is a spiritual successor to The Wire. Your face is telling me you don't know about this show. Your face is telling me you don't know what's going on.
I've never heard of this show. Never heard of this show. What are you speaking right now? I mean, you said it's the same showrunner as The Wire, so I'm already caught because you know me.
Yeah. In fact, Queen, I'm surprised you haven't heard about this because do you know? So okay, so yeah, made by the same showrunner as The Wire. Do you know who the main actor is in this TV show? I mean, you don't know the TV show. What am I even asking this question for?
Yeah, who is it?
Mr. John Bernthal, Mr. Punisher himself, Mr. Shane the Walking Dead. Mr. Shane the Walking Dead.
What's his name? From King Richard.
Mr. King Richard. He's not King Richard in King Richard, but Mr. King Richard himself. He plays the main actor.
That's it. That's all you needed to say. I'm sold.
Listen, I'll give a brief synopsis for anybody who is not familiar with the show, interested in getting into it. The premise is it's a mini-series which details the rise and fall of the Baltimore Police Department's gun and trace task force and the corruption surrounding it. The story centers on Sergeant Wayne Jenkins, which is John Bernthal's character, one of 8 officers who were convicted on various corruption charges in 2018 and 2019. It follows a non-linear narrative with frequent flashbacks. So it jumps forward back in time. You see him when he's like a new recruit. You see him when he's like into the department, and you see him when he's like kind of really just like leading it and doing all the shady bits and pieces in the background.
Let me get my notebook.
Yeah.
Let me get my notebook and write that down because truly, that's crazy. Hold on.
So yeah. And another thing, so We Own This City features a lot of the same actors from The Wire. So remember Mr. Marlowe Stanfield, the last Kingpin, he's back in this show. However, hold on now. However, he's not playing a drug dealer. He's playing a homicide detective. Some of the drug dealers you thought from The Wire are like drug dealers, they're now police people. And it's not the same characters. It's not like Marlowe's now a homicide detective. It's the actor playing homicide. That sense of continuation, for me, I was watching the show like, oh my God, that's Poot. Oh my God, that's like it feels like the spiritual successor to The Wire. So I'm having a great time kind of watching. I'm on episode 3. I think there's only 6 to 9 episodes. It's quite short, but so far I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a bit of me. And you saying as well about it being like a continuation, but like not quite. It's a similar feeling that I get when I watch like anything from Shondaland, like by Shonda Rhimes. Because in like the beginning stages, so when she was doing like Grey's Anatomy, then she went on to do like Scandal, she went on to do How to Get Away with Murder, but you would see like a lot of the same actors in these works, basically, because you could just tell that, okay, clearly she likes these people in these characters. Like so I quite like that when showrunners do that, because it shows that like that at least these people are good people to work with, if that makes sense. Because obviously if they weren't great to work with, then they wouldn't work with them again, you know what I mean? So I really like when you connect those dots and you can piece those things together. That's really nice. But yeah, that sounds like a bit of me for sure.
Yeah, you'll like it. Yeah, so I'm excited to hear when you do get around to watching it what you think. But yeah, talk to me. What have you been watching?
Well, this week has been so busy, but not so busy that I haven't watched any TV, because I think I've watched more TV this week than I have, for the past month, maybe, even though I've like moved halfway down the country and had some work things, but that's by the way. This week I have watched Fairfax season 2. Now, I think I've spoken about Fairfax before on this podcast, but I can't if you like adult animation, I think it would be right up your street. It's essentially a show about popularity hungry middle schoolers and based on Fairfax Avenue in California, in LA. And it's all about like hype beast culture. So streetwear brands and just these teens like trying to get their hands on this hype beast brand essentially. I hope I've done that justice. I'm not sure if it's really selling what I was hoping it was going to sell, but seriously, it's funny. It speaks to the times, and yeah, I really enjoy it. So I literally binged it in a day, because you can do that. They're only like 20-minute episodes or whatever, and there's only 10 of them. So Amazon Prime, I would definitely check it out. What else I watched this week? I also watched The Flight Attendant, which is what I said I was going to watch from last week's episode. And it's an interesting show, very interesting show. Essentially, this woman is an alcoholic flight attendant who sees someone die, and so she's trying to like piece the puzzle together and like as to why it is that he's died, and like, you know, also trying to make sure that she's not getting done for it at the same time. But it's done in a really special way where like the guy who is dead like speaks to her in her mind. So you have like moments where she's dissociating, and they capture that so amazingly. So she'll literally be watching herself on a TV and like be having a conversation with the guy that died, basically. It's like, and then she kind of comes back into it and they're like, where did you go? And she's like, oh, like I was like, sorry. And then she'll get back into it. But really good show, really nicely done in terms of like how they represent mental health and like alcoholism and that kind of thing. So we'll definitely check that out. I'm on like episode 8 now. And I think there's 10 episodes, so I've done quite well.
Is it told in like, is firstly thematically speaking, is it a scary show? Is it a horror? Is it like a thriller?
It's not scary. It's more funny.
Sorry, I'm there asking you if it's a horror, and you're like 8 episodes in. I know you're not watching like horrors in any sort of depth, to be fair. So
no, but to be fair, I feel like what would be a good like little challenge for me doing this podcast would be like some kind of one scary film a month kind of thing, just to like not just force myself to watch scary things, but also like to watch quality films that I know are good. I'm just too scared to watch. But yeah, that could be a segment that we do at some point.
Yeah, there's that new Ethan Hawke film. What's it called? Like Black Mirror, Black Man,
Black Phone.
Black Phone. Why did I say Black Man?
Phone.
Yeah, Black Phone. So there's that. I'm intrigued to watch it.
Frightening. Yeah. The thing is, I think I just have to be committed. As in, I'm happy to do these things. I just can't do them alone. Like, I'm happy to watch Black Phone. I just need someone else there to banter off of, so I'm laughing instead of screaming. You understand?
No. See, we're not bantering during a horror film. It's not happening. That's antithetical to the whole point. I'm terrified.
It's well, what can I say? There's ways around it for me.
Yeah.
And then of course The Boys.
Let's get into it. I
watched that today. So I'm up to date now. Thank God. I was behind for a bit. You know, there's some shows. It always gets to the point where I'm like, should I continue to recommend this show? Because I don't want this to be a reflection of me. Okay. Mm-hmm. I love The Boys, but the latest episode that I just watched, it was a lot. There was a lot going on. And, you know, I almost don't want to be associated with it, but it's so good. It's so good. Like, but this, you know, orgy, I was just like, it's just too much for me. There's so much going on. I can't take it.
Yeah. All right, let me do a quick synopsis of the actual episode. And then we can talk about the wonders, which is Herogasm, as the episode is called.
Yes.
So Herogasm, which is The Boys, season 3, episode 6, the 70th annual Herogasm event is basically a giant. no holds bars, no rules, invitation only event for the superheroes of America, or of Vought in particular. No cameras, no non-suit guests, although we do have like Mother's Milk who does show up. And basically it's just the soups having a giant orgy like throughout the whole episode. And they do this every year. This is us as the audience, our first time seeing this event. I learned in the comics, this event itself, like the circumstances around it take place slightly differently, where every year, the Vought superheroes, so Homelander and the Seven, I think in particular, announce to the public that there's some giant cataclysmic event taking place. Aliens are attacking. We must all go and stop them, type of thing, which is a way to get all of the superheroes, out. So it's like, we have to go and save the world, and we will defend you, and this will be a tough fight, but you're all taken care of, and whatever. And that's how they skirt away to Herogasm. But yeah, so we're Herogasm happens for us now. Following Soldier Boy to go and kill TNT, the twins who are on his team. Soldier Boy obviously is from Payback, the previous iteration of the Seven. And then chaos ensues. I want to get straight to the point.
Yeah.
That was the fight between Homelander, Soldier Boy, Butcher, Huey, the best fight I've seen in the boys so far. Like, I don't think we've seen a knocker down, drag out fight between Homelander and anyone in this entire show up until this point. So seeing that, and Homelander has never felt, you can tell he's never felt pressure like he did in that moment where he's like, wait, I'm not just instantly pulverizing people right now. What is going on? I'm being hit and hurt.
Like, and he's like, see ya.
peace. Peace. I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know how to deal with the. Go on.
No, I was gonna say he literally just goes through the ceiling window, never to be seen again.
Never. And it's interesting because I don't know if anyone else can fly. No one else has it. Can any of the other superheroes fly? I guess Stormfront could fly, but no, I don't think anyone else can. Obviously, A-Train can run really fast, but it's not flying. Look where I got him. But we'll get into it. Shout out to Mr. Roots A-Train. Going back to my roots to find my roots. I don't know. Anyway, talking
about Odyssey.
Yeah. RIP to that man. But it felt, if again seeing the fight at the end of this episode was so satisfying. My mind is going all over the place. Queenie, what did you think of the episode?
Shock factor, if we're talking, SBF, it's giving 50. It's giving 50. From the little termite man, going from termite size to large size, and then brushing up against Mother's Milk, having just been in a woman's vagina. It was a lot. There was a lot going on. For him to then be squished by your man, every day the show, I'm like, every day I'm gasping, right? There's a point where Mother's Milk opens the door.
I'm throwing ropes.
Mother's Milk opens the door, right? We don't know, what he's opened the door on, right? Suddenly, buckets of semen. There's a lot. But you know what? It was a good episode.
It was a fantastic episode. It was a fantastic episode.
So with A-Train, do you want to talk about what happened with A-Train?
Yeah. So just real quick. I mean, this has been, I guess, I can't even call it a B plot line. Like, it's more like a D plot line happening right now with A-Train and trying to not even to disrespect, just really is one of those things like whenever A-Train's on screen chasing this, like trying to be known for something. Yeah. It's like, please. But Blue Hawk is a superhero who's been over policing Black communities in particular. very harshly, very brutally, and A-Train is trying to make an example out of him to, you know, boost his credibility. Maybe to some degree, I think part of him does care, but he's also so far gone in terms of being so absorbed and so narcissistic that it's hard to tell if he truly does care until his brother gets hurt by Blue Hawk, the superhero, gets paralyzed, and A-Train, you know, suddenly this becomes personal for him. Suddenly it's less about like hurting these communities, and it's like, you've hurt my brother. Like, now I understand. So A-Train chases Blue Hawk to Herogasm, and kills him effectively, and kills him. Grabs him by the foot, drags him through the streets,
through
the concrete, which is interesting because I think that was I think there's direct parallels between that form of violence and a form of violence which happened to African Americans as well. During the KKK. I don't know if you've seen Watchmen. But Watchmen also like highlights that there, where like you'd have these like Klans people who would attach a rope to a person's ankle often, or ankles, and drag them through the town.
On a horse or something.
On a horseback or something. Like so. And I thought that was in some way kind of calling back to that form of violence and brutality. A-Train, you know, since season 1 has been on Compound V, some extra like drugs, and as a result of his time on those drugs, they said if he, you know, runs too fast, his heart will give out. He chose, you know, emotionally responding. He's like, I'm going to kill Blue Hawk for what you did to my brother, because Blue Hawk also refused to apologize. A-Train, on the other hand, confronted by Huey, you never apologize for killing Robin, Huey's girlfriend, in episode 1, and actually apologize, and a genuine heartfelt apology, which you can tell completely spun Huey, sent him through a loop. Huey was not prepared to receive an apology. Huey, I think, is also this shows how far gone Huey is. In that almost this isn't about Robin anymore. When Robin was initially, you know, the thing that started this off for him was the death of his girlfriend. Now it's like Butchie, he's been corrupted. You can see him chasing the drugs. You can see like he's been so corrupted by Butchie that I think his whole motive, where it's to protect Starlight and help her, and then time and time again she's told him, I don't need protecting.
I just want you. Like,
I just want you, and that's not enough for Huey. He is a junior Butchie.
He needs a purpose. He needs something to make it make sense, basically. And it's interesting as well because Huey's the only person out of the boys, if I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like Mother's Milk hasn't got an apology from Soldier Boy. Butcher hasn't got an apology from Homelander. I find it interesting that Hugh's received this apology from A-Train, and like you said, like is still longing for some kind of reason for revenge, kind of thing, or some some reason to take the soups down. Which just takes your point about him being so corrupted by Butcher. It's crazy, dog. Crazy. And
crazy.
At the end of the episode, we saw Starlight resign.
I forgot about that. I wasn't even going to mention that. Even at the time, it felt so contrived. I didn't care, to be honest. Starlight as a character has always been the least interesting thing about this whole show for me. I don't know. I just haven't had a great time watching Starlight on screen, but excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, man, 100%. I mean, obviously, we hope A-Train survives.
Oh no, he gone. Oh no, he gone. He's not surviving. he's gone.
You think he's dead?
Yeah, he's dead. Why would he come back? Why would he come back? He's gone. He keeled over.
Oh.
You thought he was coming back to do what? There's nothing else for A-Train, even from.
I mean, I'm just thinking, money-wise, they must have paid him 10 episodes, no? But that's just me. Yeah,
I think even from a writing perspective, there's there's nothing there for him. He apologized to Huey, you know.
Yeah.
What else is what else is left? What else is he doing? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's out here, and he like got revenge on Blue Hawk. Anyway, we'll see. But
Yeah,
I feel like he's out here.
I guess the point was made as well in terms of like it shouldn't have to happen to someone close to you for you to like understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the point was made story-wise.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, Queenie. Curious to hear about films you might have seen this week. Is there any films which have stood out to you? You've been watching a lot in TVs. What about film?
Yes. Okay, so film-wise, this week, like I said last week, I said I was going to rewatch Doctor Strange. I did. It was still rubbish. Argue with your mother. I don't care.
Wait, who are you talking to? Because I'm on the same side.
Sorry, no. I'm speaking to our audience.
You speak to them.
Yeah, I'm speaking to the audience. Obviously, you know, I love you guys, but if you like Doctor Strange too, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. This is mine. It was rubbish. And if you disagree, you can argue with your mother. Thank you.
Just as a by the by, funnily enough, I watched Doctor Strange today. When I was seeing some family earlier on, my cousin's friend, his best friend, put it on. Was super excited to watch it. Oh my god, Doctor Strange! She said. I said boo, and then we got into it, and I just had to explain why I think the movie is incredibly mid at best.
Yeah.
And I watched it and was like, yeah, still mid. So anyway,
it's just and the comments about it being what. So it being like almost a lesser version of Everything Everywhere all at once, just was solidified. As in, like, we already knew this. But at the same time, it's also just embarrassing because obviously this film came out before Everything Everywhere all at once. It's just
with a massively bigger budget as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then you know what? When I was rewatching it, because I was rewatching it with my flatmate, and she'd not seen it, and she was like, you know what though, maybe like she was like, it was probably made like, you know, during COVID times. And I was like, true. So I'll give them that. But you know, you still have a huge budget. I'm sorry. Severance was also made during this time. You know, Spiderhead was made during this time. Like, as in, there's so many. There's so many.
Everything Everywhere all at once. There's like basically everything we're watching now was made during COVID, but was made particularly during the peak of the pandemic. So I don't think that's really an excuse that flies.
Exactly.
Can't excuse bad writing. You're writing at home, bro. So what's going on?
See ya. But yeah, also I watched Spiderhead, which have you seen it, Kojo?
No, not yet.
Kojo. Let me tell you right now. Yeah? Loved it. The thing is, I saw the trailer. I was like, I don't get it. Don't understand it. But cool, I'm gonna watch it anyway. Because like we spoke about last week, Miles Teller, driving force for me watching this film. And at the start, I was like, okay, visuals, feeling it, loving it, liking it. And then you get into the crux of it and you're like, hold the phone, this is fantastic. Hold on. And you get to the end and you're like, yes, great. Then I went to go and Google the director. I've forgotten his name now, of course. I've forgotten his name. His name is insert here. And turns out it's the same guy who has directed this new Top Gun Maverick film, which everyone is saying is what film should be. Like, from what I've heard, people are like, wow, like, we've forgotten what films were supposed to be like. Like, this is what a film should be. But this is genuinely how I felt when I was watching Spiderhead. So I'm like, maybe he's just a great director. Like, because he's not only directed this really great film, Spiderhead, but I've heard so many great things about this new Top Gun film that I'm going to go see next week, basically. So yeah, and lastly, I watched this film called Sexy Beast, which is like the British answer to Pulp Fiction. So like very much gangsters abroad kind of thing, but quintessentially British, not only in accent, but in humor. Very, very violent.
Ooh.
Very violent and there's a lot of swearing. A lot of swearing.
Is it anything like, I mean, this is just kind of going off stereotypes because you mentioned it being British and violent. Is it like The Gentleman, like Guy Ritchie's Gentleman, or is it, when you say British, what do you mean? Is it like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels?
I've not seen the Gentleman. Oh, have I?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. I would say think Snatch. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That's basically, yeah. Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Same base, same thing. Yeah.
That kind of vibe, like Legend, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite good though. Thought it was quite good. They are going to be making a prequel for it, which is quite exciting. Just because, and I feel like it's necessary as well. So they're going to make a prequel 8-part series for it, which has just been greenlighted by Paramount. So that's
Cool.
good, and I'll definitely be checking that out when that comes out.
Mm.
I think they're going to start filming that in September or so.
Cool.
And yeah, but what have you been watching this week in terms of films, Kojo?
Yeah, so I finally got around to finishing The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is one Mr. Nicolas Cage's film. It was all right. It was all right. I think I wanted to enjoy it more than I did. I think there's some like reverence to it. There's like a lot of humor to it. It's super, super meta in that obviously it's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage in a way where I think he was often criticized for. I mean, you go see a Nicolas Cage film, you know he's going to play Nicolas Cage. Like, he's going to do some Nicolas Cage isms. And this film really leans into that, and because it's about him. And I enjoyed it. There's parts of it I really, really enjoyed. The overall, the narrative going through it, about it goes into kind of like spy territory and whatnot, which I'm like, I could have done without. But the film makes a point out. The film does make a point out of saying that this is obviously ridiculous, but it gets people into the cinema. You know, you have to give something for everyone. It's one of those things. Right. So finished that. That was cool. But the film I really, really want to talk about, I finally got around to watching Gerard Carmichael's new film, On the Count of Three.
Okay, this is the one. Because I remember, I think I was watching like a talk show thing with him in it, and it references like suicide and that kind of stuff, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So basically, it's a film where two best friends decide that they no longer want to remain alive and want to commit a double suicide. And it's a heavy film, obviously. Yeah. It's definitely not an easy watch, but the story itself unfolds in so much kind of subtle humor to it, really dark comedy to it. And if you ever been in a space of depression or kind of dealt with mental illness, you kind of understand the need to poke fun at these things and to bring humor to them, bring a sense of levity towards them, where the way they're kind of talking about life is almost so ironic. And,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like imagine like today's your last day and you need to go and run errands, and you're there kind of standing in a queue for somewhere where you're like, this is what you're going to do in your last day type thing. Like, no, not really. Like, I want to go do something like crazy, wild shit. I want to go like actually live life. And that's basically how the story unfolds, is they're like, wait, if this is our last day, let's go like really, really kind of go and do some stuff. So it's a story I really, really, I did enjoy. Again, it's definitely not an easy watch, but Gerard Carmichael was fantastic in it. In fact, everyone in this film is fantastic. What's her name? Give me a sec. Tiffany Haddish is in it. Briefly. Okay. Which I'm not the biggest fan of, but she was really good for when she was in it. Christopher Abbott plays the best friend, who's in it. You saw Breaking Bad, right?
Yes.
I was gonna give it away, but I won't do that. There's a certain Breaking Bad character who's in here, who when I saw them, I squealed. I was like, oh my God, it's you! I squealed. I was so excited to see them. Okay. So anyway, really, really good film.
Sorry, the synopsis of the show kind of reminds me of this show. Sorry, of the film. It's a film. Reminds me of the show that I was watching, called The Now. Episodes are 10 minutes long, maximum. Right? 10 minutes long. It's got Dave Franco in it. It's got O'Shea Jackson, so Ice Cube's son. you get like a little glimpse of Pete Davidson. It's got Alicia, one of the girls from Charmed in it. Anyway,
Okay.
great show. Similar, sorry, similar premise in terms of like there's a guy who like, as in the opening scene is him trying to kill himself. It's not funny, but it's funny at the same time. Trying to kill himself, but then turns out like his brother committed suicide first or something. I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's not funny at all, but it's funny at the same time.
Is it a comedy?
It is. It's a dark comedy. Yeah. 10 episodes long, and it's got like, you know, little emblems of like it's not scary at all. It is funny. It's funny. 10-minute episodes, and there's maybe like 8. I check it out. You can just watch like it's a film, basically. But it's quite good. It's quite good.
Cool.
But
I would definitely, you said
the now, yeah. And just like Dave Franco, really, that was all I needed to hear for me personally. But
yeah, no, as soon as you mentioned Dave Franco, I was like, oh. And then
yeah,
I'm a Pete Davidson fan ever since I saw The King of Staten Island. I really enjoyed The King of Staten Island. So I want to see more of him in acting roles. So I'll check it out. Because Gerard Carmichael is a brilliant film from him. I'm definitely more interested in exploring like movies which go into like dark subject matter from an introspective angle of like of well, unaliving yourself. You know what I mean? And the journey through that, because I think we often see TV shows and films kind of cover it from the perspective of, you know, like a family member or a friend or a connection to somebody who has taken their life and dealing with the repercussions of that loss. But also I'm just interested to see more content from people who are going through that process and what their healing process looks like, what their catharsis process looks like, and how they get to, you know, get through that journey. But yeah, been a busy week for films, it seems like, for us.